Hey y'all! So today's objective is adding and subtracting polynomials. Well, first of all, we're going to discuss a little bit about what a polynomial is. So this is new. This is an example of a polynomial. A polynomial is an expression made up of adding and subtracting terms, different terms. So these are terms. This polynomial has 3 terms. That makes it a trinomial. So trinomial is something with 3 terms. If it only has 2 terms, it's a binomial. And so you can see, here's an example. 8x minus 4 is a binomial, or 3 plus 2i. A monomial is just 1 term, and that would consist of maybe a variable or just a number, or a variable and a number together, like 8x is a monomial. And then anything greater than 3, if it has 4 terms, 5 terms, or 6 terms, or anything greater, we're just going to call it a polynomial, poly meaning many. So this is a trinomial. And we're going to talk about how to name polynomials and then how to add and subtract polynomials. So the basis of this is adding and subtracting. So the first thing is the degree. The degree is how one way we name polynomials. And the way you find the degree is you're going to add the exponents of each term. And then we're going to take the highest. So it doesn't matter if your exponents, if the bases are the same or different. You're going to add the exponents, and we're going to say the degree is whatever the highest sum is. So for example, in this one, 3x plus 2. It has an exponent of 1, and this doesn't have any variables, so this has an exponent of 0. So this would be a degree of 1 because it has 1 exponent, or the exponent is 1. All right, here we have a trinomial. And the degree is going to be, here's a degree of 2, here's a degree of 1, and here's a degree of 0. So in this, because we take the highest, it's going to have a degree of 2. That is the degree. In example 3, we have just a monomial, so we only have one thing to look at, and the degree is 3, because that's the only exponent we have. Now in this one, we have an x to the 4th and a y together, and then we have a 2x. So the degree of this is 1. The degree of this, we would add 4 plus 1 is 5. So that means for this binomial, the degree, if it asks for what the degree, you would say the degree is 5, because you would add it and you take the highest. For number 5, it doesn't have anything, so the degree is 0. And then for number 6, we have a trinomial. 1, 2, 3 terms is a trinomial, which means we need to add. So right here we have a degree of 3, right here we have a degree of 2, and here we have a degree of 4. So for this trinomial, we always take the highest, so the degree would be 4, because that's the highest degree. So we name a polynomial by its degree, and that is the exponent, the sum of the exponents for each term. Alright, so when we add and subtract polynomials, we want to write them in standard form. And all standard form is you take the degrees and you go from in descending order. So you put the highest degrees at the beginning and then you go down. That way everybody's writing them in standard form, so there's uniformity no matter where you are. So in this first example, 5 minus 2x. This has a degree of 0, this has a degree of 1. So we need to take the highest degree and write it first to put it in standard form. Therefore, it's going to be negative 2x plus 5. Because you see this minus, it's going to travel with the 2x. So negative 2x plus 5. In this example, we have a degree of 4, a degree of 0, and a degree of 2. Which means the degree of 4 is highest, so that's going to stay first, 3x to the 4th. But we need to switch these two because we need to put 2 in the middle and then 0 at the end. So plus 2x squared minus 4. So we just switched these two. Alright, so now let's do some examples together. In this first one, I've already shown you the degree is 2, 0, and 4. So we need to rewrite this, putting the highest degree first. So 9x to the 4th plus 6x squared plus 7. And now it's written in standard form. Number 2, this has a degree of 1, degree of 0, degree of 3. Which means we just need to move this one to the front. So negative y to the 3rd plus 3y minus 4. And then this last one, this has a degree of 0, a degree of 1, and a degree of 1. All right, so before we do anything, we need to combine these, and we get 8 plus negative 4v. And then we want to put that together. We want to put this first, so it's negative 4v plus 8. That would be in standard form. And whenever we were doing linear equations, you notice that we always did mx plus b for slope-intercept form, and that's because you put the highest degree first, so it would look like this. All right, so now the really important stuff, adding polynomials. When you add polynomials, simply you're just combining like terms, and there's two ways really to add polynomials, vertically and horizontally. So I'm going to show you both, vertically and horizontally. If you want to do it vertically, you line them up, and you have to make sure that all of your degrees are the same. And remember, they're in standard form, so they're going from biggest to smallest in descending order. Once you line them up vertically and all of your degrees are the same, you're going to combine like terms. So we have 4x squared and 2x squared is going to be 6x squared. Positive 6x minus 9x is going to be a negative 3x, and then 7 plus 1 is 8. And so that is your answer. I've combined like terms. If you choose to do it horizontally, then you can see I've written it out. I've written this here and this here. So I'm going to just go through and I'm going to combine like terms. And this is a 6 and a negative 9, so negative 3. And then plus 8. So you're going to have the choice to choose either vertically or horizontally. And as long as you're getting them right, I'm not going to try to tell you what to do. But you have to make sure if you do it vertically that you line up your terms with the same degree. Subtracting is a little bit more complicated because of that minus, and I'll put a note right here. You must distribute the minus as if it were a negative, because you're going to make everything the opposite. And what I mean by that is here we have a trinomial minus another trinomial. This minus, you would think we'd have like an imaginary 1, and then we would distribute a negative 1 to everything inside. That's going to make everything opposite. So instead of a positive x cubed, it's going to be a negative x cubed. Instead of a negative 8x squared, it's going to be a positive 8x squared. And instead of a negative 11, it's going to change it to a positive 11. That's what you have to remember when you're subtracting polynomials, and that's what will get really, really confusing. So I'm going to show you vertically. I've labeled all my things up top, 2x cubed, 5x squared, negative 3x. But I have this plus 0. And the reason I have this plus 0 is I put a note over here. If you have skipped terms, notice it went 3, 2, 1, and then it doesn't have any kind of numbers, you have to put in a placeholder, and so we're going to put in a 0 placeholder. Now I can line up my other terms. And remember, I've changed them all. So now I can put them together. So this is plus 8x squared. And then I don't have just an x. Notice how I'll go from squared to nothing. So I'm going to put in a 0 placeholder and then plus 11. After you change all of their signs to the opposite, so that means I've changed them all, now you're going to combine like terms just like we did before. 2x cubed minus x cubed is going to be just x cubed. 5x squared plus 8x squared is 13x squared. Negative 3x plus 0x is negative 3x. And then 0 plus 11 is plus 11. Okay, so the trickiest thing is taking that negative and making all of the other terms their opposite. To do it horizontally, I've just copied down my first trinomial. And if you're doing it horizontally, you don't have to add in that replacement 0, that placeholder. So remember, I've changed all of them. So I'm just going to rewrite it. And this negative, remember, changes all of these to the opposite. So really, it is minus x cubed plus 8x squared plus 11. So in order to get it out of that parentheses, you're going to change them all to the opposite, and then we're going to combine like terms. We have x cubed and 13x squared. And then we have 2 left over. We don't have any like terms, so we just bring that down and bring that down. And notice our answers are the same, whether we do it vertically or horizontally. So I have two you tries. I have an addition problem and a subtraction problem. I want you to try these on your own, and we will go over these in class the next day.